Hello, just Jem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. I know I've said that I have been here, there and everywhere and yo-yoing about. I'm still trying to figure out my filming schedule, but that's perhaps a story for another day. It got me thinking though that I would show you what I tend to travel with, or what I take with me when I'm yo-yoing all over the place, especially because of what I do as my full-time day job. Not that this is a job, because it's not like anyone's paying me for this, but my day job does involve an element of travel. Mainly in the autumn is when it's busiest, but I will have days here and there where I might have to be somewhere doing something or other at an event. I'm going to show you what is in my makeup bag on those occasions when I'm not at home. I don't tend to prime my face anymore. I used to, and really I should probably at least get through the Milk Hydro Grip primer that I purchased a little while ago. I find that as long as my skin is prepped well and I've moisturised and I've put some sun cream on, I don't really need much else. Not anymore anyway. I don't find that my makeup slides off or that I get super oily like I used to do. I still a little bit, but not so much. And I'm wondering if part of that reason is because one of the items that I take with me is this Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Foundation. Now I've talked about this before. I think I've done a separate review. If I remember, I'll link it down in the description box. But I'm going to need more of that soon because I've very much hit pan. But if I'm wearing makeup when I'm not filming, this is the foundation that I'm using. There's no exceptions. This is what I'm reaching for. When I am filming, less so these days because I'm trying to just maybe put a bit of concealer and a bit of powder on, I alternate between the liquid foundations that I'm just trying to use up. And I'm telling you, whence am I from the Shakespearean era? Once those are all finished, I'm just going to be using this because I just love this foundation so much, and I think this is a great match as well. This is 9.5, this is one of the extension shades. Love this foundation, highly recommend it, especially if you've got oily skin. Maybe not so much if you've got dry skin. I don't know what that would perform like for you. It does come with a little spatula, couldn't tell you where that is, but I don't use it, I just go straight in with my brush, and that seems to work. So that's my everyday go-to foundation. My concealer at the moment, which I am using while I film as well, but I'm kind of using a few on rotation, but my favourite one at the moment is this Fenty one. So it's the Fenty Beauty Wear Even Hydrating Longwear Concealer. It's perhaps not the best shade match. I could go a little bit lighter, especially for using it under my eye. Let's put that on silent. I could probably go a little bit lighter, but I'll show you how I get around the fact that this could be a little bit lighter. It works, and I do like the formula, and yeah, just really enjoying that. So that's in my makeup bag, and I'm putting it all back in the bag while I'm going through this as well, so I don't forget any of this. The step before that I forgot. In fact, a couple of steps. This e.l.f. brow gel, I got this as a freebie, I think, from like Marie Claire, and this is decent. You've just got to be careful how much you use, because if you put on too much, you do get like a weird white residue. But if you when you take it out, if you just make sure that you do wipe off the excess as you're taking it out of the component, and then just work it through your brows, it lays them down flat, and you can sort of shape them as well. And yeah, I really like this, and I think this is something that I will repurchase once I've finished it. And it's got like a little comby tool, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but a comby tool and a brushy tool on the end there as well, if you want to use that to shape your brows. And I do that sometimes, but I can get away with just using the wand inside the component. e.l.f. Brow Laminating Gel. That's pretty good. Drugstore. I don't do this when I film, but when I am wearing makeup on the daily, because I have dark circles, I colour correct with this Huda colour corrector. Faux filter corrector in the shade Papaya. I'll put that under my eyes, but you have to be careful with this, because the first time I used it, it picked up a lot, like inside that sort of doe foot well, and then I applied it under my eye and it was just loads, and I looked ridiculous. So be very careful. Tiny little dot is kind of all you need, and then you can blend it out. I've got a really small beauty blend that I use to blend out the colour corrector, and then I do set that, so I'm coming to this shortly, I set it, and then once that's sort of dried down, then I'll go in with my concealer. And I find, like, I haven't got colour corrector on now, and I just feel that you can still see the bags and it is still a bit dark under my eyes, but when I colour correct, that doesn't happen. I do really like that. I was a bit dubious at first, even though I've seen people colour correct and I know it works. I had this image of me trying to do it and looking ridiculous, much like the first instance I tried it that I just described to you. I did look ridiculous. I put on far too much. But if you go in lightly, it does the job. Really nice, that. Speaking of setting powders, I take 2, which seems a bit excessive, but I use this light one for immediately under my eyes, because it helps to brighten, especially on those occasions when I'm using a concealer that's perhaps a hair darker than I would like. So using a light powder helps. This is a Bella Pierre Banana Setting Powder. I got this in a glossy box years ago, and I loved it so much. I remember I was in a beauty Facebook group where we all got the glossy box, like everyone seemed to have glossy box at that time. So we all had this, and I was probably one of the only darker people in that group, and everybody else hated this banana setting powder. So I was just going around saying, well, I'll have yours, and people were like, yeah, okay. And I collected, I think I must have about 5 of these. So I'm not going to be running out of this anytime soon. And I love the size. It's just this really great compact size for travelling. I think this is my... Am I on my second one? I can't remember how many of these I've got left, but I acquired a lot. And I do rate this. Yeah, great travel size. So that's my immediately under the eye powder that I like to use. I don't even know if Bella Pierre still make this. No idea. But if they have stopped making it, I'm good. I'm good. And the other I mean, I don't take this with me because it's significantly bigger, but this does the same thing. I've mentioned this several times now. It's the Trigwell Cosmetics Setting Powder in shade 2, and they've give a very similar effect. I don't know if you can tell through the packaging that they're a very similar colour. When I'm filming at home, I'll use this, but this is what I take with me because it's just more compact, especially because I take this Laura Mercier one, and that I tend to use for the perimeter of my face to set the rest of it. Sometimes I will just use the banana one. It depends really. This one, I might reach more for this in the summer just because it does have more of a pigment to it and it's a bit darker, whereas obviously the banana one's got that yellow tone. This is for the rest of my face, and that's the Laura Mercier Translucent Medium Deep Powder. Curve case. So this is something that I take in and out. It depends, but generally it stays put in my makeup bag. I think you can tell which shades I reach for the most. It's these 2 blushes on the end here, Cowlick and Cherry Cola, and then which one's here? I mean, that one's taking a... You can see the well there. I think if I hold it at that angle, you can see the usage. But you only need a very, very small amount of this. Very small. It's very pigmented, and the amount of times I've forgotten and I've shoved my brush in and shoved it on my face and gone. It perhaps doesn't look as well loved as it is. Maybe the outside can tell you. I mean, it's in a bit of a state now, especially in comparison to the Deeper Than Deep version that I've got. which I do reach for, but this one is my everyday. I love this. I should start experimenting more with the using the other shades more. I think I tend to, I'll dip into the orange here, so that's where the SPF wears the SPF here, and I'll mix, but I don't tend to reach into Mango Daiquiri much. I don't know why. I'll try and make a point of dipping into that more. Made by Mitchell Curve Case, that comes with me. This is, you'll probably see me use this a fair bit on camera, but I'm trying to use this less on camera, and I use it more for everyday and makeup when I'm actually leaving the house, because I really like this and you can't get it anymore. So this is the Revolution Glow Splendor Ultra Matte Bronzer in the shade Dark. This now sort of stays in my makeup bag. I don't tend to pull it out unless I've misplaced one of my other bronzers, which, to be fair, happens quite a lot. What I might try and do though, I've got another Revolution Pro bronzer, and I think I bought these around the same time, so I'm going to try to make sure that this is close by when I'm filming so that I can reach for this more than the other one. Having said that, should I do a quick swatch and see, because I can't recall now. Yeah, I wonder if that's too red. So that's Splendor there in the big pan. This is Enrobe, this one. It's a bit more red toned. Yeah, I think I do prefer, I think that's a little bit too red. A little bit too red, but I can still use that. But that's why this is my everyday one. I prefer the tone of that one. Do I do my eyes first? I flip between them. So these are my sort of collection of primers, and these will sort of come out of the makeup bag. But that's my Be Perfect Priming Canvas, that's my Gloss Gods Clear Base, and that's my NYX Glitter Primer for when I want my shimmers to really pop, or if the shimmers are perhaps a bit lackluster and can do with a bit of an extra boost. Which one of these two I use will normally be dependent on the palette that I take with me. And then sticking with the eyes, because I love this mascara, again, this was a sample I think also from Mary Claire, like the e.l.f. brow gel was, and this is the Gucci, which one is this? L'Obscure? I think it's the Gucci L'Obscure. I love this mascara, and I think I'm going to have to suck it up when I've gone through all my other mascaras and repurchase this, because I really, really like it. I really do. It seems a lot. I think I found it for 25 quid on John Lewis, which is that steep for a mascara? Well, considering I think it's normally 30 plus, 25 quid isn't too bad, but for a mascara that's probably excessive, isn't it? But if you find a makeup product that you really like and it works for you, sometimes it's just worth the extra coin, isn't it? I really, really like this. But let's see, I've got other mascaras to get through, see if that can be toppled from its top spot. But really enjoying that Gucci L'Obscure mascara. Never been so annoyed about liking a product in my life. I rant and rave about this. I don't think I can line my eyes with anything else apart from this now. It's my Clinique High Impact Easy. I mess up the name because they've changed it. It's the Clinique High Impact Easy Liquid Liner. This is a fresh one, and I've got a backup for when this one dies on me. Love it, love it, love it. I think this is my third one now since discovering I liked it. It is, because I used it and I was like, ooh, this is a nice eyeliner. That dried out. I bought one, used that to death. Like that one, like I've only got one and I use it all the time. I might get this in brown. I think it could be quite useful to have this in brown. Now we get down to the items that I tend to alternate, but I will show you the ones that I'm reaching for the most. Trigwell Cosmetics Mulberry Muse, you'll probably see me using that a lot in videos. That is something that transitions in and out of my makeup bag. That's Mulberry Muse. I just think that's a really beautiful purple tone. I tend to lay down a Made by Mitchell blush and then I will set it with this, or I just go straight in with this. It depends. And then the other one I reach for a lot from Trigwell Cosmetics is Sunset Sally. I just think that's a beautiful, beautiful colour. I haven't tried mixing these together actually. I wonder what that would look like. Like a bit of a sunsetty type action on the cheek. If it's not one of these from Trigwell Cosmetics, I will randomly pluck out a NYX blush. I tend to, depending on, again it will depend on what palette I choose, sometimes I will go for one of the bronzers as a blush because it's more brown toned and it's kind of more neutral. So if I don't know what palette I'm going to take, or if I want to sleep on it and think overnight but not have to stress about packing all my makeup, I'll put one of the bronzer brownie shades just so it gives me more flexibility in my makeup. I love these NYX blushes so much. They're super pigmented, so you need a very, very light hand. As with the Made by Mitchell curve case, I've made some mistakes, let's say. I've been able to tone it down most of the time, but yeah, just be very, very careful with that. And I don't put this over Made by Mitchell. I will just use this. Whereas sometimes I will use a Made by Mitchell under these two. Sometimes I'll use them on their own, but these, you don't need to use anything else. You just don't. So that's something to consider as well. So that's why I say that my Made by Mitchell case comes in and out, because if I do take a NYX one, I just don't need to use my Made by Mitchell curve case. It's just not necessary. The other thing I tend to rotate, though these are the two that I have on rotation at the moment, are my Nimya and my Pat McGrath highlighters. So the Pat McGrath one is Divine Rose, and then this Nimya one is Monarch. So that's what they look like inside. So that's a more of a rose gold shade, and that's more of a gold. So let's swatch them for you. It's weird, I don't know if they look all that different. I think so. That's Nimya, and I think you can see that's gold, and then that's Pat McGrath Divine Rose, which is more rose gold. But I really like those for everyday highlighters. That's Pat McGrath Divine Rose, and that's Nimya Monarch. And probably within that rotation, I imagine I will start putting in these NYX Buttermelt blushes as well. But these are quite new to my collection, so I haven't been reaching for those as much yet. Mainly because I'm trying to finish it, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. And I'm kind of annoyed that I'm no longer a Charlotte Tilbury supporter, because I really like this setting spray. I really do. So if you know of a setting spray that is similar to this, let me know. I'm trialling these two at the moment. This is the Beauty Moon Cosmetics one, which was in the subscription box. I got the box in PR. Why have I gone very dark there? It's very odd. So I'm using that one at the moment, and then I'm also trying out the Trigwell Cosmetics Hollow Hold, because I've heard good things about that. Still formulating opinions on both of these, but for the time being I just really love that Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, and I'm vexed that Charlotte Tilbury has behaved in an unreasonable manner and is no longer worthy of my coin, quite frankly. Sad, but it is what it is. So I'm on the hunt for a substitute. I might revert to Urban Decay All Nighter. That was what I was using before I used Charlotte Tilbury, and I did quite like that. But let's see how I get on with these first. But then, I mean, this isn't something I don't think I could get again, even if I did want it, because of the fact it's in a subscription box. So let's hope I don't fall in love with this. When it comes to lipstick, and an eyeshadow palette. Those are the things I pack last, and it will depend on what I've been using and what I want to try more to be able to come back and talk to you about. I normally have like a little pile of palettes maybe I've tried in the previous month or two, and I pick one out of those and I try to make sure I work through all the rest of them, and then I'll pick a lipstick based on that. Having said that, a lot of the times I do just try and do a neutral lip. Really enjoying these Adept Cosmetics glosses at the moment, especially Nude Beige, but I'm really liking Starry Lilac now, especially since I've purchased this lip liner from Made by Mitchell in the shade Here on Earth. Here on Earth and Starry Lilac are a delightful combination. So when I want something easy, subtle, or that's going to go with multiple looks, I tend to just whack on a gloss and a lip liner, and it's 89 fine. I don't know where 89 fine is at the moment. It's normally always around. I've got a backup for when that runs out. I don't know where my 89 fine is, but it won't be far. It won't be far at all. That's not it. That's my staple. That's normally always in there. I don't know where it's gone now though. I must have used it. It might be in my bathroom. That will be the most likely place for it. Yes. That's it. That's what's in my travel bag. That's the makeup that I reach for the most. Some of it I do use while I'm filming, others not so much. I try to kind of rotate through more things while I'm filming, but for my everyday, it tends to be quite samey, especially the base. The base is very samey. It might be the blush. It's the eyeshadow palette really, and occasionally the lips that change around the most. The rest of it, it's pretty tried and tested for me. So, I mean, I don't know how useful you'd have found that, but I just thought it would be quite interesting. Which probably means it's actually quite boring. But you'll have to let me know. You'll have to let me know. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope to see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye.